Have you ever felt like you're alive, but not really living? In today's fast-paced world, most men are dying in silence. Not because they're weak, not because they lack talent, but because they've lost their inner strength, the very thing that once built warriors, leaders, and legends. Society today feeds you lies. Take it easy. Stay comfortable. Pick the path of least resistance. But the truth, every real achievement is forged in adversity. Stoic philosophy shaped by Roman warriors, emperors, and philosophers teaches us that pain isn't the enemy. Pain is the teacher. This video won't give you empty motivation or feel-good quotes. This is a wake-up call, a challenge. You'll discover 10 brutal Stoic law sand. Each one is a building block for your inner fortress. But be warned, miss even one of these laws, and you may lose clarity, courage, or composure at the exact moment you need them most. This isn't a video for entertainment. It's a test for men ready to leave behind the shadow of compromise and step into the light of real power. Law 1. Treat discomfort like a friend. Every man wants to be strong, but real strength doesn't come from comfort, it comes from struggle. Modern life teaches you to avoid pain. Stoicism teaches you to face it. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, discomfort isn't the problem, it's the path. It's the fire that forges the man beneath the surface. Think about taking cold showers. It's not just water, it's war. Every time you choose cold over comfort, you take back control. You silence the voice that says, "I can't," and replace it with, "I will." Fasting, in a world of instant gratification, instant food, pleasure, distraction, you say no. You train your body, and in hunger, you find clarity, discipline, and inner fire. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher who was immensely wealthy, chose to sleep on the floor and eat like the poor, not because he had to, but because he wanted to prepare his soul for loss. Because when hardship comes, and it will, those who are prepared don't break. They bend, and then they rise. Comfort is not the goal. Comfort makes you weak. What you avoid today will own you tomorrow. So start doing the hard things. Speak the truth even when you're scared. Train even when you're lazy. Say no even when it's tempting. Endure even when your body screams no. Every time you walk into discomfort, you sharpen your edge. You rise above mediocrity. You move closer to the man you were born to become. Comfort is easy, but easy is never legendary. Discomfort isn't punishment, it's preparation. So ask yourself, will you run from the fire or walk into it and become forged by it? The choice is yours. Brother, choose the harder path because that's the one that leads to greatness. Law 2. Don't let your emotions own you. Here's a brutal truth. Being controlled by your emotions is worse than being physically chained. You can be insulted, misunderstood, betrayed, but what truly hurts isn't what they did, it's how you react. Epictetus, a slave, later a Stoic master, said, "Whoever angers you, owns you." Think about that. Every time you lose your temper, react in jealousy, or lash out, you hand over control. You let someone else pull the strings of your emotions. You become their puppet. Stoicism doesn't teach you to suppress emotion. It teaches you to observe it, to stay present, to respond with intention, not impulse. Anger isn't the enemy. Uncontrolled reaction is. Sadness isn't the enemy. Staying stuck in it without action, that's what destroys you. You don't need to be a robot. Your human feeling is normal. But you can master your emotions instead of being ruled by them. Picture someone insulting you. The natural reaction, fight back, defend yourself. But if you pause, take a breath, and choose silence, that's not weakness. That's power, because you control you. They don't. Emotional control is a power society overlooks. In a world of hot tempers, you choose stillness. In a world of noise, you choose calm. In chaos, you're the rock that doesn't move. The real man is not driven by rage, lust, or fear. He sees emotion, acknowledges it, but doesn't follow it. That's real freedom. Not freedom outside, but freedom within. Freedom from impulse. Freedom from, "I can't help it." Freedom to choose your reaction. Instead of being dragged by emotion, mastering your emotions is mastering your life. You can't control the world, but you can control your response to it. Don't let someone control you with just a sentence. Don't let your environment decide who you are. Be the man whose emotions don't shake him. They sharpen him, because the man who controls himself cannot be controlled by anyone else. Law 3. Stop expecting life to be fair. From the moment you were born, you didn't start on equal footing. Some were born into wealth. Others had to fight just to survive. Some had opportunities handed to them. Others had to create their own. If you're waiting for fairness, justice, or a perfect system before you take action, you'll never go far. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You can commit injustice simply by doing nothing. Staying silent in the face of injustice doesn't make you noble. It makes you weaker. It makes the system worse. Complaining changes nothing. Resentment produces no results. Only action, responsibility, and inner strength can make you immune to circumstance." The Stoics understood this. The outside world can be chaos. Inside, you must be a fortress. You will be lied to. You will be betrayed. You may be left behindhaven when you did everything right. That's part of the game. But if you let bitterness take over, if you let it poison your mind, you've already lost. Because now, the world has shaped you instead of the other way around. The Stoic doesn't wait for justice. He becomes it. He doesn't wait for the world to act right lives right. He doesn't wait to be loved. Chooses kindness anyway. Why? Because his character isn't dependent on conditions. He isn't a victim. He's a builder, building a life out of the stones life throws at him. When you let go of the idea that life must be fair, you free yourself from constant disappointment. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What must I do now?" You can't control people. You can't control your environment, but you can always control how you respond to adversity. The world owes you nothing, but you owe yourself strength, honor, and the refusal to fold. The Stoic man doesn't complain about unfairness. He uses it as raw material to forge an identity that nothing can shake. And that is how he wins. Law 4. Focus only on what you can control. You can't control the world. You can't change other people, but you can always master yourself. And that's where true power begins. Epictetus, once a slave turned philosopher, said, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." This isn't just advice. It's a mindset for life. The world is full of things outside your control. The weather, other people's opinions, someone else's bad behavior, the outcome after you've given your all. Then, losses you never saw coming. If you let your mind fixate on these things, you will feel helpless, angry, and eventually broken. The Stoic doesn't live like that. He focuses only on what's within his personal power, his thoughts, his reactions, his choices, his daily actions. Everything else, he let go, not because he's weak, but because he's wise. Imagine someone insults you out of nowhere. You can't control what they say, but you can control how you respond. You can stay silent or explode. You can hold your dignity or lose it. That's your choice. No one can take that from you. When you adopt the Stoic mindset, you constantly ask, "Is this within my control?" If you sacked, if no, release it. You don't need to control your partner to feel secure. You just need to control yourself. Be honest, grounded, and dependable. You don't need the world's approval. You just need to know you're living by your principles. You don't need the world to be easy. You need to be steady in the storm. Real freedom isn't when everything goes your way. It's when you stand tall even when nothing does. The weak are controlled by their circumstances. The strong command themselves, no matter the conditions. Stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" Start asking, "What will I do with it?" You don't need to master the world, just the world inside you, because the man who masters himself, nothing outside can shake him. Law 5. Voluntary hardship is your superpower. We live in a world addicted to comfort, food, entertainment, dopamine, just a tap away. And because of that, discipline has become a superpower, and the man who has it becomes unstoppable. Seneca, richest Stoic philosopher in Rome, chose to fast, wear rough clothes, and sleep on the ground. Not because he had to, but because he wanted to train his mind to be unafraid of loss. He understood this truth. When you train yourself to endure what's hard, nothing can threaten you. When discomfort no longer scares you, you become free. Think about taking a cold shower in the morning. It sounds small, but it's the first battle of the day against your own weakness and laziness. You walk into that icy water not because you must, but because you choose to face difficulty head on, and that decision builds iron will. Or waking up early when everyone else is still asleep. You don't hit snooze because you know. Laziness is a slow death. You rise because you choose ownership of your body, time, and focus. You reject convenience. No pointless scrolling, no mindless snacking, no avoiding your responsibilities. Because every time you choose discomfort, you become a little more unbreakable. The difference between a strong man and a weak one isn't genetics. It's how often they choose hard things. This world doesn't lack opportunity. It lacks men who are strong enough to take them. Every small act pushing through the fatigue, saying no to temptation, choosing focus over distraction, is another brick laid in building a warrior within. Comfort leads to mediocrity. Voluntary hardship leads to greatness. The Stoic doesn't wait for the right moment. He creates discipline, chooses challenge, and builds willpower like armor. You can't control the future, but you can prepare for it through pain today. Because what doesn't kill you doesn't just make you stronger, it makes you unstoppable. Law 6. Let go of the outcome. Fall in love with the process. The Stoics understood this. The outcome is never truly in your control. You can write brilliantly, but still remain unknown. You can train hard and still lose the fight. You can love with all your heart and still be left behind. If you live only for results, you'll live in disappointment, anxiety, and fear. You'll become a slave to validation, metrics, and the opinions of others. But if you learn to love the process, you'll find real freedom. Freedom is when you write not for praise, but because you must. Freedom is when you train not to show off, but to discipline your mind. Freedom is when you study not to pass a test, but to respect the wisdom itself. You no longer need applause. You don't need rankings. You just need to know, I'm on the right path. I'm getting better. And here's the paradox. When you stop obsessing over results, you usually achieve better ones. Because fear doesn't hold you back. Obstacles don't shake you. You stay consistent and unshakable. The Stoic trains like a warrior. He shows up daily not to prove he's good, but because he refuses to be average. When you fall in love with the process, praise or criticism won't move you. You know this. The journey is the reward, and the man who finishes the race isn't the most talented. He's the one who never quit. Don't live like a gambler betting everything on outcomes. Live like a blacksmith hitting steel day after day until the blade is perfect. You can't control glory, but you can control effort, and when you fall in love with the work itself, you've already won, no matter how it ends. Because the real man doesn't ask, what do I get? He asks, who am I becoming? Law 7. Remember you will die. Live with urgency. We live like we're immortal. We delay. We wait. We daydream about someday. But the truth is this. You could leave this life at any moment. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. This isn't a warning. It's a wake-up call. You will die. I will die. We all will. So why do we still act like time is endless? Why do we delay our dreams, ignore the people we love, and wait for the perfect time to start? The Stoics call this memento mori. Remember, you will die. Not to make you afraid, but to help you live with clarity, focus, and urgency. When you truly grasp that today could be your last, you'll stop wasting time on petty arguments. Stop letting others control your emotions. Stop passing up moments to love, act, and leave a mark. You'll stop saying, next week, and start saying, right now. You won't let fear stall your progress. You'll move heart pounding because you know that waiting too long is a loss you can't afford. Think about the people who've passed through your life. How many are gone? How many calls did you never make? How many dreams did you say you'd get to later? Later is not guaranteed. The Stoic doesn't fear death. He uses it as fuel. He doesn't aim to live long, aims to live deeply. He doesn't leave empty promises, leaves legacy through action. You and I will die, and that's not a tragedy. It's an opportunity to live real, live right, and live fully. Don't wait for someday. That day may never come. Love deeply, forgive freely, act boldly. Time waits for no man. and urgency is the weapon of the awakened warrior. Memento mori. Remember that you will die. So live today like it's the last chance to become the strongest version of yourself. Law 8. Be a warrior for virtue, not applause. We grew up in a world where everything is posted, a nice photo, a funny clip, a deep quote instantly shared, instantly judged. Slowly, we learn to live for approval instead of living for what's right. Marcus Aurelius said it best. Just do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter. The Stoic lives by internal standards, not external spotlight. He does what's right, even when no one claps. He keeps his promise 7 when no one is watching. He stands by principle even when no one sees, because he knows fame can be stolen, money can be lost, followers can disappear. But virtue, true character, cannot be taken. The weak live for others' opinions. The strong live by their values. You can be the loudest in the room or the quietest. It doesn't matter. What matters is, are you real? Are you righteous? The Stoic doesn't act for recognition. He doesn't need applause to do the right thing. He acts with integrity because that's who he is. The world may betray you. Your community may forget you. Your fame may fade. But if you still hold on to your integrity, you are unbreakable. You'll see men change themselves just to be liked. They bend principles, chase trends, live 2 lives. But not you. You walk the hard path. To be honest, to be clean, to be true. And when the lights are off, when the applause is gone, you'll still know exactly who you are. Don't live to impress. Don't let external validation define your worth. You don't need a crowd to do what's right. You just need a high standard and an unshakable commitment to live by it. Because the man who lives for virtue can't be bought, can't be shaken, and cannot be defeated. Law 9. Learn to be silent. Wisdom lives in stillness. We live in a world addicted to noise. Everyone wants to talk. Everyone wants to be heard. Everyone wants to be right. But in that chaos, the man who chooses silence is the strongest in the room. The Stoic doesn't speak often. He speaks enough, and before he speaks, she listens, observes, and thinks. Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we may listen twice as much as we speak." That's not just clever, that's a philosophy. In most situations, you don't need to speak. You don't need to win the argument. You don't need to reply instantly, because most of life's problems don't come from ignorance. They come from speaking too fast, too soon, too emotionally. Think about the times you said something in anger and regretted it. Think about when you interrupted and made things worse. Haven't you wished you had paused just a few seconds longer? Silence isn't weakness. It's inner power. It's self-control. It's the signature of a man who knows not everything that's thought must be said. The Stoic chooses intentional silence. He pauses not because he's unsure, but because he refuses to waste words. He knows every word carries weight, and sometimes silence is the most intelligent reply. Here's how you practice it. Before responding, pause for 5 seconds. Ask yourself, is this helpful? Am I solving or just venting? Will I feel better or worse after saying this? If the answer isn't clear, stay silent. Silence gives you time to think. It protects you from impulsive mistakes. It preserves your dignity when others lose theirs. In a world obsessed with being right, the strongest man is the one who listens, reflects, and remains calm. You don't need to talk a lot to be respected. You just need to speak with purpose, and only when it matters, because strength doesn't lie in loudness. It lies in the kind of stillness that commands attention. Be that man, a stoic warrior, silent, sharp, and unshakable. Law 10. Daily discipline. Victory is in the small things. A stoic doesn't wait for motivation to show up. He builds discipline in the details. How he eats, how he wakes up, how he speaks, works, thinks, and keeps his word. Discipline isn't an external force. It's an internal vow, a silent commitment to yourself, repeated daily. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, journaled every day, not for an audience, but to confront himself. Did I live by my principles today? Did I act with integrity? Did I let emotion override my reason? The Stoic man doesn't live to be praised. He lives with discipline because he knows what's right, and doesn't need anyone to remind him. Now look at yourself. How many times have you promised to wake up early, then hit snooze? How many workouts have you planned, then skipped? How many times have you said you'd resist temptation, then gave in? Don't beat yourself up. Just start again with small things. Discipline doesn't come from one big decision. It comes from showing up every day even after you failed yesterday. True victory is winning against yourself. It's getting out of bed when you're tired. It's choosing work over mindless scrolling. It's standing by your value 7 when no one's watching. You don't need a massive achievement to know you're on the right path. Every small right choice is a step forward. Practical Stoic routine. Before bed, plan your next day. A man without a plan is just drifting. Start your morning with a disciplined habit exercise. Journaling, prayer, meditation, whatever grounds you. At night, ask yourself, did I live according to my values today? Where did I win against myself? What will I do better tomorrow? Conclusion, the Stoic path. Power comes from within. You don't have to be perfect. You just need to be consistent day by day, choice by choice. The Stoic man doesn't make noise. He builds inner power through quiet victories that carry real weight. And then after months, maybe a year, she wakes up one day and realizes he's not the same man anymore. He's become a warrior. Stoicism is not a philosophy for lazy reading. It's a path of action, self-mastery, and a weapon for standing strong in a world of chaos. It doesn't teach you how to control others. It teaches you how to control yourself. Your emotions when insulted, your actions when tempted, your thoughts when the world spins out of control. The ancient Stoics Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca didn't live in peace. They endured war, betrayal, exile, and death. And through it all, they held their ground, stayed calm, and remained true. If they could do it in that world, you can do it right now. You don't need motivation. You just need to start no matter how small. Wake up early. Stay quiet when it counts. Write down 3 things you know you must change. Every day is a workout for your willpower. Every decision shapes who you're becoming. Never underestimate the morning you didn't quit. Never ignore the time you resisted temptation. Because those silent victories, they are forging a man that nothing can break. So remember this. Say it to yourself. Live it. I'm becoming unstoppable every single day. Not because life gets easier, but because I refuse to let hardship define me. I choose to live with honor, whether anyone sees it or not. I choose to train whether anyone claps or not. I choose to stand tall even if the whole world shakes. I am a Stoic man, and I am ready.